This is Marcus from Bulletproof Messenger, and you're listening to the. Wait, what did you say? Brutal what?
That's excellent. Brutally delicious.
I love that fucking name. I'm looking this up right now. This is Marcus Klavan from Bulletproof Messenger, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
How are you, man?
I'm doing well. How about you, Bruce?
I'm doing
You're
well.
Bruce, right?
Yes, correct. You're from Long Island?
Yes, sir.
What part? Because I grew up in
raised, actually.
Yeah, me too. I grew up in Lynbrook and lived in Valley Stream for a long, long time. Where are you at?
Yeah, my wife's from Lynbrook. I grew up in Hicksville.
Okay.
So I was born in Southampton, grew up in Hicksville. Yeah.
Interesting. So I've
been kind of all over the place in my later years, but I'm back there now. I live in the house I grew up in right now. So.
Oh, really? I dated, this is totally off the subject, but I actually dated a girl that lived right behind Holy Trinity High School off of Hicks. What was that? Newbridge Road.
Who didn't?
Yeah, off of Newbridge Road.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, man.
So let's
I know that area well.
Yeah, is Long Island? I've been out for a long time, but is Long Island starting to open up at all?
It really never closed down. Because people say New York was like shut down. It was really talking about the city. It's still shut down a little bit. The dining capacities were limited, but most of the restaurants didn't really shut down. They were just like limited capacity. You had to wear your mask when you walked through the door to the table, but then and they put plexiglass partitions everywhere. So it wasn't really, it wasn't closed down, but it was just, way less capacity. So it wasn't that bad, but it still sucks that these businesses have to limit themselves,
Yeah. What about shows? Any shows yet or?
I haven't seen much, but there's really, New York City is where most of that happens. And honestly, I'm not sure about the city. I know Long Island, the show scene's been kind of dead for a while now. And one of the biggest ones near me, is shut down like a year or two ago. And so they're not doing anything. Or actually, maybe they shut down during the COVID thing, but what the hell are they called? They've changed names so many times over the years. I can't remember the name of it. The last name. It was Ollie's Point. Revolution, I think, was the
out in Amityville.
Yeah.
Yeah. Revolution, I think, was the last one. I get up there every once in a while and catch shows here and there. Well, haven't in a while now, but
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah,
so let's talk about Bulletproof Messenger. For those not familiar with the band, can you give us the 2-sentence boardroom pitch?
Well, I think of it as a hard-hitting rock music with melodic vocals, and then an air of ambience from electronic production stuff. So we draw a lot of our influences from many different areas. We're mostly guitar-driven, but lots of different influences in there.
Okay. So I know I was doing some research on it, and I know your new single, The Divide, has been out about a month and a half or so in there. What's been the response to that so far?
So far, it's been really good. It's been kind of hard to judge in a way. We judge based on YouTube views and Spotify right now, because that's the main way. You can't really play shows for anybody right now, and and we haven't released anything in over 10 years if you've read any of our stuff, But I think the fans that I still think there's a lot of fans that we've had over the years that don't even realize we've released new music, because it's hard to even get that word out these days, because Facebook's not organic anymore. None of these social media sites, you have to pay to advertise a lot of the stuff, the organic reach, and even that's not everybody. So I think we're leaving social media and kind of droves too. So it's what are you seeing? So I think to me, Spotify is the best I guess gauge for it, and we've got 55,000 plays in less than 3 month. So
that's pretty
good, I think. So that's our main gauge to it, but YouTube's doing pretty well too. We're slowly releasing more and more YouTube videos. It's hard for us to release an actual video because we're all in different places, but we're trying to find ways to take more advantage of that. So we got a lyric video coming out soon. And so over the course of the 3 months, we're just going to keep releasing content focused around the tracks, but I think he's doing pretty well, especially since we haven't released it in 10 years. But we had a pretty good fan base, I think. Small one, but loyal. So
What was it like trying to? What was it like? I guess answer question. But first, what was the catalyst for getting yourselves back together? And two, what was it like when you finally came back together and started writing new music? Was it just like getting on a bike again, or was it a little difficult?
Yeah, we've been trying to write songs for. We have a weird history. I mean, I'm in the military, so like I've deployed twice in this band since we started.
Right,
and that's been like what I think mainly has caused us issues as far as like momentum, because I think everybody contributes, but like I think I'm the one that like starts the writing process and gets everybody going on it. And like when I'm not around to do that, sometimes it's harder for everybody to be self-starters on that respect. And I'm not trying to like be disrespectful to the guys at all by any means, but that's kind of like what I see has happened. And over the past few years, like, you know, we all have our other different careers that we're working on. We're all like our mid-20s when we started this band, and now like I'm 39, so we're all about the same age. So we're in that weird portion of our lives. I just got married, but with COVID, I think COVID helped us in a lot of ways. But we've always been passing songs back and forth, and but I'm probably one of the guys in the band that's like serious about the music industry. I have my own studio. You know, after my last deployment, I just ripped out my whole basement and rebuilt it and built around the studio. Yes.
Are we expecting Marcus?
Is he coming?
He's right here. I'm going to let him in.
Yeah, let him in.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but yeah, here he is. Sorry. You can carry on. So yeah, after your deployment, you tore up your studio, you said?
Yeah, I tore up the studio, and then I just like, you know, I felt like I wasn't getting any responses from the guys when I was writing songs. Like everybody's like kind of had their own interests. So
their own interests.
Marcus.
Hey, Marcus, how are you?
How you doing, Bruce? Sorry,
I'm doing well. No, that's all good.
It's a work thing.
You doing all right?
Yeah.
What's up, Marcus?
We're
just talking about how what created a catalyst to bring us back together, writing again, I guess.
Well, please continue.
So it was up to the point where I kind of give him a background of like, you know, why we weren't like around each other a lot. And then so, you know, I think it was a stupid thing, but like, you know, I just kept writing songs and I just wanted to write songs. And I was like, well, whatever. They're not interested. And then I was sending Marcus songs a lot too, and he wasn't responding. I was like, what the hell's going on? So I figured he just kind of got sick of me. And it's kind of a stupid story here, but we ended up, I was working with this other band out in Pennsylvania, and he lives in the city. So I came back to the city and, you know, ended up contacting these guys for drinks, and he actually responded through another friend. That's why. And then we got around the table. I've had like 30 songs written instrumentally, and we started talking like, why the hell have you like not been talking to me? And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, I text you all the time. And then found out that our phones just weren't communicating. And so for the last couple of years, I think this is probably what caused our biggest issues, but we might have connected a little bit sooner. But it's also kind of interesting because maybe not, because I'm sitting at the table with this guy and I got like 30 songs written instrumentally, and I'm showing it to him one by one. He's like, this song's awesome. This song's awesome. This song's awesome. So we fixed our phone issue, and then like a month later or a couple of weeks later, they shut down the world. And like, we didn't know how serious this thing was going to be, but he came out to me and into my studio, and like, we just, you know, it was a catalyst. We just started writing song after song. So now we've got like 10 mostly written songs that are going to be pushed out over the next year and a half, and hopefully more, because I mean, we want to keep going with it. We want to keep writing and just never stop. So you know, we're just kind of figuring out how to operate again, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So two things again. So first, did you guys click right away again? Was it like riding a bike? And two, are you gonna follow that new model, I guess, in the music business of like singles once a month or singles every couple months instead of a full length, or how does that work?
Well, I'll let Marcus address your first question, but I'll start with the second one. I think the model is something I've been pushing in the band a lot more, because I follow a lot of different dudes in the industry. And, you know, a lot of my friends are you know, producers and you know, worked at labels and things like that. And that's like the way the industry is going right now. And because every song's got to be like good enough to be listenable. There's no like room for album cuts anymore. It's not like, all right, I can just put this one out. So every single's got to have some focus, and every single's got to have a lot of things around it. I think that the song is like just the first part of being in the band. Like right now, being in a band is like, people have to believe in like who you are as a person, because it's kind of a weird thing. Like the song only has so much like lasting power. So like you have to create all this stuff around the song. You have to create a music video. Usually you have to create, like look at, I hate to bring this up, but like Lil Nas X, like the dude, like just pushed that one song so hard and it like blew up eventually. But like, it was so much shit created around this one song. It was like, it was like different videos, different ideas and everything. And that's kind of an extreme version of it. But I think doing one song every so often allows you to get yourself out in front. Like you just push more stuff with that song, just release something every week and dribble it out, because that will cut through there's so much stuff on the internet right now that it's hard to even cut through anything. And I still think, like I said before, we probably haven't reached most of our organic fan base. Like they probably don't know we're releasing songs again. So, so if we were just to release an album right now, like out of nowhere, it'd be like, all right. And it would go unnoticed because it'd be covered by all the extra stuff in the internet again, like right away. But now that we're releasing the song, or let's just say it's an album over the span of a year, that gives everybody a year to catch on that we're releasing stuff. And it also gives us an opportunity to create more content around it, and makes it a bigger event by having a lot more small events around each song. Yeah. I think it makes sense that way to me, It's
a different world, but I think that's the way it has to go.
Definitely. Yeah. And in terms of how we got along, I mean, I grew up with these guys. Literally, we've been together since 2003. So having to like disbarred, let's say, after 12 years together and spend 4, 5, 6 years away from each other, the second we were at the table at the bar again, it's just like nothing's changed. You've been in tour situations and millions of rehearsal situations, right? Also living together at several points in our lives. So it was like nothing has changed immediately. And the guy that was with us was our DJ, and I've never really had problems communicating with that guy in terms of just texting and talking about girls and life and Ball and our bass player. We'd still go camping and things like that. So we've always stayed in close touch, but it wasn't until we stirred it up with the new music that things really got fired up. And happening when COVID hit, it was good lethargic energy, like sitting on the balcony and listening to new music and being able to write lyrics. And he already had some constructed melodies together, which is super useful. Yeah. And it just like, honestly, it was better than it was when we were in full force, because there was always arguments, or we were working directly with large producers that, don't bore us, get to the chorus, only produce singles. And we were really stuck in that mentality. And that is what drove us away from each other. When you can't write together, and not that writing is the funnest part, recording surely is not the funnest part. Live shows were always the most fun, but especially when you're being told by, someone with multiple Grammys, these are filler songs. These are filler songs. I need Don't Bore Us, Get to the Chorus singles. And we just weren't that. We were just writing to write, and we loved writing. And I think now we're kind of working backwards, where we're in the same mentality. Like we've got a triage situation of, he's got 30 songs, 5, 6, 10 of them are fantastic. Where do we even start? Let's start with the lowest hanging fruit, the catchiest things possible, release one, kind of see what happens. And that one that we released has been more popular than our song with millions of plays, literally. So things that just pop off real quick. Our member base apparently is still interested even after 10 years. So it really stirred us up to figure out, how do we do this smart? No one wants to sit, unless you're Lady Gaga or some shit, listen to a full fucking album. They want to hear, what are you doing right now? Stir me up with some social commentation, like engage with me, then release something else. And that's what we're trying to stagger this. But to Val's point, I mean, we're all working, right? And I can't wait to get back to his basement, in which he's not at now. He's in a hotel, God knows where right now.
Detroit.
Where are you?
I'm in Detroit right now.
See, I have no idea where the fuck he is from one day to another. He's flying around all over the place as a social influencer nowadays. so I heard. But literally, we woke up out of this coma. And I want to say quite literally, to a verified Twitter account, 30,000 followers after 10 years makes no sense. So we're very excited about this year. I can't wait to write more with Vol, but we've got a backlog of songs I still can't wait to friggin' release. We're so close to putting out new stuff. And if we ever get to play live again, praise God, I hope so. That will be the end all be all.
But it's kind of like
stage, quite honestly.
It's kind of like you woke up in Oz, though, right? Because the whole world, you wake up and it's completely not what you thought it was 10 years ago. You couldn't even have imagined this.
Dude, we barely had cell phones. We were touring in London and Canada. We had fucking reel-to-reel. Like, I had to develop them at CVS. Nowadays, we can literally go on our cell phones, release a song, talk to 10,000 fans. The end, if we want to, literally advertise ourselves. Right. So go out, buy media on Facebook, buy media on Instagram, and drive people, even if they're our own people, which we have to pay for nowadays, which makes no sense.
Right.
You can grow yourself quite organically, or just put some of your band money aside and actually grow without the use of a label, without going into debt. These are different times. It's much more conducive to, you know, the songs speak for themselves. Right. You get them in the right hands. People like them. Blow the fuck up. Hopefully. I would love to stop working in marketing. I'm sure Vol would not like to stop flying around and going to Detroit. We'll get you out of that one day, man. You're almost retired anyways.
We'll see.
You're putting in your 20 years. Did you go through the whole
military? Yeah.
Military. Yeah. His whole military background was the initial stopgap, to be quite honest.
That's what he was saying.
In terms of, you know, we releasing 2 albums and having to go through that whole spiel and missing Voley when we're going through these ridiculous shows and not having him, and we need to find our drummer in the middle of some foreign country. I'm not going to go into that story. This is probably a PC program, but
it is not, and I'd love to hear it if you got time.
Oh my God.
I have 10 minutes till the next one. If you could get it in, I'd love to hear it.
So funny enough, and I'm sure you're familiar with Spinal Tap, where drummers kind of come and go and die in horrible gardening accidents.
Right.
Ours seem to go and disappear at random countries, searching for drugs and disappearing before very large shows where we're being paid and flown to foreign countries to perform, and we don't know where this person is. And when Vol was not involved in this, unfortunately, we had to literally go out in a cab in the middle of Soho, London, which I've never been before, and hunt this guy down, finding him en route to an ATM that is empty with very questionable guys behind him looking for money.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
I just want to interject that this is not our current drummer, because our current
drummer is fantastic, a lovely human being, a God-fearing human being, very straight edge. Also was in Breaking Benjamin and ridiculous bands. We were just at his house literally in October, watching old Breaking Benjamin videos and seeing all his platinum albums on the wall.
Yeah.
And it kind of puts things in perspective, coming from our very humble beginnings and now working with, you know, the giant producers I was talking about and drummers that I would only dream to ever work with that look up to us. Never had that situation before. Mostly when we were touring with big bands like Incubus or someone like that, we were always like the fledgling kids, like following their footsteps, you know.
Sure.
Let us smoke weed on your tour bus. Please come to our after parties, like that kind of stuff. So now having them as sort of, you know, not similar or parallel, but having them in our band, literally, kind of mind blowing.
Right. What do you guys have planned? I know you're obviously all over the place, but is there any sort of live streaming events or fan events or that sort of thing in the works, or do you just wait till the world opens up and hit the road?
We're slowly building our footprint and seeing what this looks like. I mean, because there's different involvement from different guys in the band right now, and like Marcus and I have been kind of leading the charge, and we're all establishing different roles. It's almost like reestablishing different roles in this band. But I started doing the Twitch thing with a few different musicians. So I'd like to build some bit of like an online presence there, like, you know, doing maybe some acoustic stuff with Marcus to start off. And then I've got the ability to do a full live stream with the band from my house if I can get everybody in the same spot. So it'll just, time will tell with that one. But we're slowly building up those different areas and seeing what we're strong at and what might need to just fall by the wayside for now. But if we can get out and play some shows eventually, that'd be great. But we're not just going to play. I mean, we're all like have our own. It's going to have to be some like good scenarios, you know, because like we can, like I said before, like the Long Island scene is kind of dead right now. It's hard to find places to play. The biggest place I know of after Revolution shut down is Broadway, and it's like a small bar. I mean, nothing wrong with that, but like I think we're all, at least I can speak for myself, at the point in my life that I just don't want to play for like 10 people in a bar and try
Is Mulcahy's not there or whatever that used to be called?
Oh, you know Mulcahy's.
I'm from Limbrook.
Yeah, he's from Long Island originally.
I'm sorry, I didn't know. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's our hometown.
Yeah,
it is. We opened for Fuel there a few years ago, but they it's hard to get on bills there because they don't really like, as much of a following we have, like all over the place, it's scattered. So like nobody knows who we are on Long Island for the most part. And then like we might be able to bring some bodies through the door because we haven't played in 10 years there, but it's traditionally tough to get on a bill in Mulcahy's. And if we did, I'd like to look on like, opening for some bigger act that we'd fit with and hopefully, try to capitalize on things that way.
I miss the old
5 to 10 people.
I miss the old days there. I'm probably dating myself. I'm probably about 10 years older than you, but I remember growing up on Long Island and we had, Lemoore was the place, but there was also February's. Do you guys remember that place? Out on in Elmont?
I remember Lemoore. I don't remember February's though.
And then out on the island,
February's is Franklin Square.
Franklin Square, Elmont. And it was on Hempstead Turnpike there.
Yeah.
It was like a smaller end. And then we also had Spit, which used to be out in Levittown, right? Where the Tri-County Flea Market is or was or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a little bit before my time. When we were coming up, we played at the downtown a few times. Remember that place?
No. So that's after me, I guess.
Oh, it's crossing past that. Yeah. It's now it's a Croxley's Ale House in Farmingdale, but like they had like huge battle of the band. Well, it was like so every Tuesday night was a battle of the bands. It'd be like people out the door signing up, like hundreds of bands, like not even like joking, because they'd start sign-ups at like 7 p.m. You get there, and then it would be like it would take you just an hour just to sign up, and then like they would start. Everybody gets 2 songs. There's a back line, so everybody like get ready to set up, play 2 songs. Then like people won like opening slots for like bigger bands, like by doing that, or cash prizes, or radio play. That it was such a great catalyst in the area, and then that place kind of shut down. There wasn't really much after that. I mean, they had the Crazy Donkey for a while. Crazy Donkey shut down. All these music venues that that had
fun in it, man.
Local bands are like a lot of these local bands are really good too. But now it's like there's a huge gap between those shows, those venues that just bars now, and then the bigger venues that are really kind of cool that
Right.
It's only national support, and you got to have management to get on it and whatever. I don't know what the key is, but that's stuff what we're interested in, trying to figure out where to, how to get into that level of stuff, because
it will definitely lead to that, right? You get the plays and the millions of bullshit and the Spotify and the YouTube, and things come from that. And I'm perfectly fine living in the digital world because we didn't even have that before. Like no way to promote shows digitally or social, no way to really show, hey, we've got millions of plays or something like that to give you like carte blanche. So hopefully we can just build this whole brand up again. And quite literally, I feel like bigger than it was when we were actually doing things, which is still so messed up to think about, the uphill battle.
So I've only got like 5 minutes, but you guys are pretty much starting from the ground up again though, right? Because new world, 10 years later, everybody's got new lives. So it's pretty much almost from the ground up, isn't it?
We logged into our Twitter for the first time in 10 years, and it was verified by Twitter with people on it. We put out a song on Spotify that got 50,000 views in literally less than a month, and there's 30,000 followers. So I still feel like we're starting in a better position. But to your point, relative to some bigger bands, it's small time. Like we have to engage with these thousands of people and put out more music,
right,
and grow to the millions of followers. And then you can really go out and do some damage. Yeah. So I don't feel like we're starting from zero, but we are starting from a lower bar. It's just still a higher bar than Mulcahy's, running around touring with big bands and going home and opening up in front of 30 people. Right. That was our lives before.
Yeah. And that was the business.
8,000 to 30.
I don't know what's going to happen when tours get open here either. It's going to be kind of, I don't know. It's going to be weird, right? Because promoters are going to have to be careful how they book, because everyone's going to rush to the gates, and there's going to be only so much money. And I don't know. I can't wait to see how it all pans out.
Limp Bizkit's going out again. You see that? The Limp Bizkit tour? All the old school guys have been killing it.
I know it's going to be weird, but anyway, I've got to go. That's all I've got. Stay in touch. Thank you for taking the time.
Yes,
Good luck with everything, my friends. Be well. Cheers.
Thank you, guys.
Very nice meeting you, Bruce. Thanks.
You too.
Pleasure, brother.
Bye-bye.
Ever wonder what a punch from Elton John feels like?
Or how you'd cope with having turned down the chance to be in Nirvana?
Or what signal Keith Richards gives when he wants you to get the hell out of his hotel room?
Fans of Too Much Effing Perspective don't have to wonder, because they've heard these exact stories and a jillion others on our podcast. I'm Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead.
And I'm musician and comedy writer Alan Keller. On the TMEP show, we get guests like Nancy Wilson from Heart, Jeremiah Freites from the Lumineers, and Modern Family's Julie Bowen to tell us things they may have only shared with their therapist, clergy, or a TMZ stringer.
So join us on Too Much Effing Perspective. That's EFFING Perspective. The only podcast you crank up to 11.